gonna step over here because I'm short, so I can't see over. All right. This is from my mom's sister, Aunt Teresa. My beautiful and loving sister Mary was born August 8th, 1946. She was born with a cleft palate. She had numerous operations from infancy to adulthood. During those times, she was alone a lot at the hospital. I was born 4.5 years later. Growing up, we did share a bedroom because there were 2 added siblings and we lived in a 3-bedroom house. Many times after her operation, she had to sleep alone. So again, she was isolated. We grew up with an abusive father, and that is all I will say, as the story is about my wonderful sister, not the abuser. During her adolescent years, she had almost 20 operations, and it was not easy for her. After one operation, she could only eat through a straw for a while. There was a nasty boy in school who called her a name, and I went up to him and I punched him. First and last time I ever punched anyone. I was so angry because she was crying. I tried to protect her, but how does a little girl protect another little girl? As the years went by, Mary developed a stutter. I have to admit it was annoying to me, but I can only imagine how it was for her. She went to speech therapy and she conquered the stutter. Amazing. She never gave up. On top of all the years in the hospital and numerous operations, her goal was to become a nurse, and she did. How amazing is that? She didn't let anything stop her from what she desired. She married the love of her life on October 3rd, 1970. She wanted a family more than anything, and when she got pregnant, she was thrilled. Sadly, she lost that baby, but she never gave up hope. After several years, she became a mom to me. She was over the moon and happy. Jerry Ann was our first niece, and boy, did we spoil her. She was just so darn cute. Then 5 months after my son was born, Mary gave birth to her son, Nick. Isn't that what they call a rich man's family? Daughter and son made their family complete. Over the years, we struggled internally because the abusive background, and years later, I remember saying, he tried to pull us apart, and yet we held on and came out stronger than ever. We always shared holidays together. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day at our mom's, sometimes even New Year's Eve, and definitely New Year's Day, as our mom lived only a few blocks from Broad Street, and a lot of family would come to visit, and we all walked to Broad Street to watch the Mummers Parade. As we got older, we all moved to different areas. However, we still spent holidays together. After our mom passed, we still would get together at our brother Anthony's house on Christmas Eve. So much fun, laughter, and food. We would all make seafood and bring it there, and we'd all be cooking in the kitchen. Fun times. Christmas Day, we head to our sister Angela's house. There were times not everyone could make it, but we still tried. We always had Christmas Eve with our entire families. Easter was always at Mary's house, and we have wonderful memories there. Thanksgiving was always at my house. I absolutely loved having everyone, but as the years went by and families grew, we all couldn't be together, and that's okay. It's called life. Even in the past years when Mary's health was failing, she always stopped by on Christmas Eve at our brother's house. This past year was the first year she could not attend. However, we siblings all went to visit her in rehab on Christmas Eve, so we were still together, but not all at once. Again, that was okay because the love that we had for each other can never be broken. Sure, we had disagreements over the years, but we always rallied around each other. Our father couldn't break our bond. This year has been very tough on Mary. She was in and out of the hospital and rehab since July. I know she wanted to go home, but her apartment was not safe for her and doctors would not release her. I am so thankful to Al for finding her a ground floor apartment and giving them what was needed to get to the apartment. I will always be thankful for him doing this for her, as she was able to live with her family at home the past 2 months. 2 weeks before she went into the hospital this time, we were at her apartment and she gave me flowers and a card for my birthday. It was so thoughtful and appreciated. We had a lot of laughs and hugs. Who would have known 2 weeks later she'd be fighting for her life? So remember, it's important to live each day to the fullest. Her husband has always been there for her, and I realize that's the kind of love everyone desires, but not everyone receives. Her daughter has been her advocate for the past year with all the health issues and didn't leave a stone unturned. I'm amazed at her strength, but I believe all of us need at least one person who would be a strong advocate in our time of need, and I'm grateful for Jerry and has stepped up and went beyond. Nick lives with Mary and Tom, and he has tried to do whatever he can to ease their burden. Yesterday, as she was leaving our world and into the arms of Jesus, my niece played Hail Mary, Gentle Woman, and held the phone to Mary's ear. The nurse said she never witnessed anything so beautiful. My loving, beautiful sister passed into the arms of Jesus, and I know my mom was waiting for her at 1:06 p.m. Thursday, March 26th. Her faith being so strong throughout the trials in her life, I knew where she is and is pain-free, but she will be missed physically, but will live on in our hearts. This is a difficult time for our family, but through all of it, our love shines through. The coronavirus has kept us apart, but it can never extinguish our love for each other. My mom always said life wasn't fair, and life is what you made of it. That has never been more true than right now. And I know she's looking down on us, smiling and saying, I told you, but I'm okay. And she will always live in our hearts, and we will forever make her still alive in ours.